Hey, it's Eric G. Around the House is sponsored by Baldwin Hardware. For 75 years, Baldwin Hardware has been known for its first-class quality and craftsmanship in door and cabinetry hardware. As an alumnus of the Baldwin Hardware Design Council, I can say I have seen the details and quality from design to the finished product. If you're looking for a new style and old-world craftsmanship, I can tell you there is only one Baldwin Hardware. Check out what would look great in your home at baldwinhardware.com.
It's Around the House.
We have been talking with Wendy Glaister from Wendy Glaister Interiors and Jarrett Oakley, the Director of Marketing for Toto USA, about aging in place and those little things you can do to your home along the way.
Heated floors are coming into play. I think when you talked, Eric, about people's sensitivities, we're doing a lot more heated floors and lighting, especially as you're planning for a living in place bathroom or spa retreat. If you're 70, the amount of light that you're going to need to see clearly is double what it was when you were 25. So if we as designers can keep that in mind
when it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House show, the next generation of everything about your home, from home improvement to design to construction. We're here to help you out with your next project. Now, we've got a super important conversation today that I think anybody that's living in a home or even renting a home should pay attention to, because there's a massive trend out there that we're seeing, and that's people aging in place, trying to get a home that's going to last them for a number of years. And of course, even multi-generational housing, which is really starting to become popular here in the United States. Oh, we've got some great people here. We got Wendy Glaister, interior designer. Thanks for coming on today. And of course, Jarrett Oakley from Toto. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show today.
Wonderful to be here.
Thanks, Wendy. Let's talk about you first here, and then we'll get to Jarrett. What's your background? Because you're an expert in this field as well.
My practice is in Northern California, about an hour and a half east of San Francisco and south of Sacramento. So we're in the breadbasket of California, a lot of farmers, entrepreneurs, self-made people. I've been doing this work for 17 years and thankfully, very gratefully, have won a number of awards for the work. A lot of it has been ADA informed, some aging in place informed. And I recently finished a project for a close friend who was hurt in a car accident. So I really got up close and personal with some of those needs for aging in place or living in place with a disability. So it's been a steep but valuable learning curve that I really appreciate.
Yeah, no kidding. Jarrett, great to have you on here, man. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Eric. It's great to see you as well. And Wendy, it's wonderful to see you and have this important conversation today. A little bit about me. I'm the Director of Marketing here for Toto North America. And so I lead a marketing department and cross-departmental efforts to grow brand awareness of Toto in many different facets and places here in the United States. And one of our important elements is really getting out to everyone about the importance of living in place around utilizing the washlet, which is a wonderful electronic bidet seat attachment that makes your lives enriched with cleanliness and wellness. And so that is I'll be talking a little bit about that. And that's a big push that we have here in the U.S. market.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. This is such a huge thing. Wendy, I can address what you just went through with a friend in a car accident. I had a friend that was sitting in his living room on this little bar area watching a football game and had a medical emergency. He was okay from the medical emergency, but he broke his leg when he passed out and fell off the torso. He ended up, he's been changing his whole house in Southern California for that very reason. He had no thought of being laid up for any amount of time until something happened really quickly. And all of a sudden, all these things that we're going to talk about today made sense. And he's in his 40s. So it was one of those things that snuck up on him quickly. So I think this is one of the very great reasons this is an important conversation.
Yeah. If you say your friend is a super active guy and loves to be independent, then any change in his lifestyle whatsoever would be really hard to tolerate. I think that's the hardest thing, is just, you don't know when it's going to happen. It may or may not, but you certainly don't want limits on your life. Nobody wants to feel trapped. So the more we can build in safeguards against that, the better it is for our clients.
Absolutely. And Jarrett, you guys have helped a lot with this. And this is something, Wendy, I know you've seen out there as well. But to me, as a big umbrella over this whole space, I think it's really cool that we can now design spaces that don't look like 1980s ADA hotel rooms, right? That have big toe kicks and bars, and it just looks absolutely horrible. You can make a fully accessible place that nobody can tell is fully accessible unless they know what they're looking at.
I agree. And I think Wendy could agree with this statement. I think that there's a misconception that living in place products can't be luxurious. They can't be beautiful. They can't be technologically advanced. And that just isn't true. And we believe that an individual's sense of luxury evolves over time. And with universally designed principles in place from our products and with others that you mentioned, that handrail is near seamless until you need to have it, right? So that universal design principle is you don't know it's there until you need it, and then it's there to support you. And we're seeing a growing trend of universal design products like our Toto washlet and our washlet plus, this universal height, going into homes earlier for people who are future-proofing their home for living in place. And I just think that it's at a really interesting time in society right now, whereby one of the largest, most effective populations in the modern era is now retiring at the largest rate in history, that they are now learning what it means to retire and to live in place. And it really is living with dignity and respect. So.
Yeah, Jarrett, I completely agree. It's one of those things that it's so beautiful out there. And I think back as a designer myself, I learned a lot of universal design stuff from Mary Jo Peterson back in the days, who was really early on. And I think I was learning stuff from her in the late 90s. I was taking classes from her and just opening my eyes up to it, because at that point, nobody was talking about it. And she was really spearheading that effort. And it's so great to see how that's evolved over the years.
I think too, just things, you don't need to have everything visible while you're remodeling a bathroom. If you're doing a bathroom for someone in their 40s, you don't want the grab bar necessarily in the shower, even though it's beautiful. Kohler makes some beautiful grab bars that look like towel bars, but you can put the blocking in. You can specify exactly where it is. So if someone turns their ankle or if someone has to have a surgery, it's available and you don't have to tear your beautiful $20,000 shower apart so that you can get in and out. And little things, thoughtfulness on how people may need to live in their home going forward. It doesn't take a lot of extra money. It just takes a little extra thought and concern.
It's like putting that outlet behind the toilet, right, Jarrett? If you can do that for a washlet, you're 95%.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing is if right now, if we all started a movement right now that we said, hey, building code ordinances need to change, we have to have these outlets installed, we can then change the zeitgeist of thinking about a spa-like sense of clean every day with an electronic bidet seat or Toto washlet, but also something that helps people with mobility challenges, those that are aging with dignity and respect with supporting of toileting. And once that goes in and someone tries a Toto washlet and understands the benefits that it brings to their lives, from being able to toilet independently in their later years to waking up just every day like myself and using it and feeling rejuvenated and refreshed, and gives a pep in my step every day, a sense of wellness is created. So I feel like that one hurdle that you mentioned, Eric, if you get to that install of that outlet, you are really well on your way to a revolution in your bathroom.
It's Around the House Show's largest giveaway yet. We have teamed up with Power Equipment Direct and Gen10 to give away the latest in generator safety technology. The grand prize is a Westinghouse 15,000 watt electric start portable generator with a Gen10 XL Extreme NFPA rated generator tent. There will also be 3 second prize winners that will win a Gen10 safety canopy, and 4 third place winners win a Gen10 signature t-shirt. Head to aroundthehouseonline.com for a link to the contest so you can answer the 7 quick safety questions to win. Contest runs from June 1st, 2024 to July 3rd, 2024. See the link for all the contest rules and conditions at aroundthehouseonline.com. And I also think it helps people outside of just the aging in place. Think about all the people that we deal with today that have sensory issues where that shock of a cold toilet seat is horrible. And this is just making their life more comfortable, whether or not they use that seat fully or not. These are all great things that happen, as well as it makes it a little bit taller as well, which means it's easier to get on and off that for anybody, whether you've got a sore knee that day or you've got even different mobility issues.
Absolutely.
Too, for women, because most of my clients, if you look through interior design, the industry itself, and who are our customers? Women are mostly interior designers, and most of our clients are women. They're the ones who write the checks for what goes in your home. And as women get older and their estrogen levels drop, UTI infections go way high. And the danger of a UTI is it can go to your kidneys and then it goes to your heart. So when they say that women die of heart disease, it's not always the full picture. But if we can help stop the UTI problem, and the Toto washlet and bidet is extremely effective in that. I placed one in a client's home where her mother was aging and staying with her. She actually runs a caregiver's service, quite a large caregiver service, but she was caring for her own mother in her home. And it was a constant battle with UTI. And once we put the washlet in, gone. And her visits to the hospital went almost completely away. So people who are into women's health and healthy aging for women all talk about you've got to get rid of the UTIs. And honestly, the bidet toilet and the washlet seat is the best way to go about that.
It's really nice to hear that, Wendy. And that's really what all of our staff members and people who work on the Toto washlet, they really are driven by a sense of creating a better standard of living for the end user, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a part of our ethos since our founding. And it's nice to hear that. So
yeah, stay out of the hospital.
Exactly.
That is our goal.
Exactly.
Stay out of the home. Stay out of a hospital. You can live to a ripe old age of whatever it is you'd like. Just don't end up there.
Absolutely. And it's something too that I think it's great. There's also a misconception with these seats, and I think it's some of the new online purchases people are getting where there's this big jumble of tubes and wires and nastiness on the side. And they go, I want it to be a clean installation. Jarrett, you guys have done a great job now with even just putting this on a Drake toilet where you've created things to hide that and put it away so it's not this big jumble of what with the $199 Amazon seats out there.
Yeah. And this, what's nice about this is we really have taken the washable electronic bidet seat. We introduced it in June of 1980. And since then, we've been working with folks like Wendy, interior designers, and having our ear to the ground on what is the best way to reach the apex of performance, design, and functionality, right? All to create a comfortable experience. What you're talking about is our Washlet Plus series. So this is a toilet that has a hole in it that hides all the only 2 or 3 cords that come in, but hides it seamlessly from a design. So it's sleek, it's clean, it goes with a modern bathroom element, and then you can plug it into your wall. That Washlet Plus is a really wonderful component of our product lineup. And we're seeing those really take hold in the United States where people want a superior toilet that is award-winning and also award-winning washlet experience. They're buying them both and putting them in. Just like Wendy said, they're thinking ahead on their install and saying, I'm going to install and design this for the long term for my health now and in the future. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Wendy, what are you seeing with your clients out there? You do this day in and day out of working with people and addressing their needs and everything else. What are some of the hottest trends that you're seeing these days?
It's a huge emphasis on health and wellness. And again, staying out of the hospital. So we're dropping all the thresholds in all the showers. So it's a 0 threshold shower. We use a lot of the Schluter drains. The guys that I love to work with the most on our teams, they like the Vario and the Curdy line of the Schluter offerings. And the Vario is new for Schluter. You can cut to fit for that linear drain. It doesn't have a tile-in feature, but they have 4 different really pretty designs. And it's a little bit easier to get out to clean. So people like that a lot. There's a big upsurge in steam showers. We do a lot with Mr. Steam, actually, and that's been shown to lower your blood pressure, help you with allergies and asthma, and have you enjoy better sleep. And those three things, living in the valley where I do and work surrounded by agriculture, that's a huge deal. And, everyday stress and trouble with sleep as you get older is something that a lot of us don't escape. So anything that helps that always is something that's a big plus. Heated floors are coming into play. I think when you talked, Eric, about people sensitivities, we're doing a lot more heated floors and lighting, especially as you're planning for a living in place bathroom or a spa retreat. If you're 70, the amount of light that you're going to need to see clearly is double what it was when you were 25. So if we as designers can keep that in mind when we're doing the lighting plan for a living in place type of bathroom, you can put everything on a dimmer, but then later if the client finds they really need to see clearly, just turn up the dimmer and you're fine. Tunable lighting also is very important because it has a lot to do with circadian rhythm and your quality of sleep. Some research shows that if you just have a constant with LED and it's a cooler light, it really messes up your circadian rhythm. So you want a tunable light where when it's on its highest value, it's a cool, clean light, 4,000 or 5,000. And as you dim it, it goes down to 27. It's a warmer light. It's a lot easier as you're trying to kind of tone down your day as you prepare to sleep, like a sleep hygiene program thing. So those things are pretty popular, and we're seeing a lot of it. I really honestly try to incorporate all of it into the work that I do now because it makes such a big difference in people's quality of life.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did a steam shower at my house here, during one of my COVID projects. And I was like, all right, I'm stuck at home, so I might as well do my bathroom remodel. And I put in I didn't go Mr. Steam, but I did the thermosol system in there. So I have the video screen and the aromatherapy, chromotherapy, all that different stuff with it, and did it all myself, which was totally fun. But you really have to pay attention on the health and wellness side of putting steam in, because not only do you need it to be waterproof, it needs to be vapor proof, which a lot of systems don't work well with behind the tile or slab porcelain or whatever you're doing there. So there's some science in here people have to pay attention to, especially if you're going to try to tackle it as a project. But hopefully your tile setter knows exactly what they're working with and what those expectations are.
Yes, we have a great team.
Exactly.
And if they aren't well acquainted with it and they don't have a familiarity, then they don't work on this.
Beautiful.
We can use them in another tasteful hall bathroom.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
I love it. I love it. So I got a question for Jarrett here. What you guys are always coming out with, you just have always been, I've worked with you guys for over 20 years. You guys have always been 10 steps beyond everybody else, especially when it comes to toilets and bidets and stuff. And they're always chasing behind you. Where do you see technology going in the years ahead? Because it just keeps getting better and better. And I go, what's next?
So what we firmly believe, our manufacturing process, our product development process is all rooted in the fact that we believe that there is a washlet for every home in America, right? So we will consistently make more feature-rich, thinner, more elegantly designed or differently designed to match the consumer's taste of the moment or anticipate the consumer's taste, working with architects, designers, listening to our partners in the industry, Wendy, to know where our products are heading. So that's where our ethos of our product and manufacturing process lies. But also, we want to make sure that universal design principles are upheld, and they will since our founding until I guarantee the next products that we launch soon will have those principles in place, that no matter what age or what dexterity or mobility that you have, you'll be able to use our products with effectiveness. That will be certainly in place. But I also see that just like the microprocessor chip, things are getting faster and faster towards the most technologically advanced possible. And I'm confident that Toto will continue to be at the vanguard of that, but offering technologies at every product line step.
Eric, if I could speak to that too, because I got to meet with Jarrett and Lenore and some of the team at Toto when I saw them at K-Biz. And I'm sorry I missed you there, but did you see that incredible bathtub?
Oh my gosh.
That Toto just put together?
Stunning.
I have a lot of clients that are on their feet all day. If they're in the medical profession, if they're in retail, if they're leading a team, you're up a lot. And by the end of the day, you're pretty tired. Wouldn't it be fantastic if you got into an ergonomically engineered bathtub that's zero gravity, so all of your pain evaporates into the water and goes down the drain? It was so fun because I took a huge tour of Interior Design Society designers by the Toto booth to see the washlet and explain how I use it in clients' homes all the time. And we saw this whole bathtub, and all of us just oogled and gathered around and tried to touch the water and figure out how it all worked. But that was pretty impressive, as was that comfort wave technology that they have in their shower heads. It's because, especially in California, we have a lot of water-wise regulations and things like that. So it's not always the coziest shower experience, but that comfort wave technology where they infuse the air particulates into the water drops makes it feel like a bigger water droplet so it doesn't just pound on you is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, that tub, Jarrett, was stunning. And I'm happy you guys had that center stage in there because I walked in the booth and it was like, oh,
definitely a crowd pleaser. It is what everyone just looks at and says, man, I would love to have that in my house. Myself included. That is something I would love to be able to give my wife one day because she just loves a bath at the end of the day. I think many people across the country would agree with that. So Eric, you made me think about something. So technologies around helping keep the products cleaner longer, that is a trend that we will see continue. We are seeing that. We also are seeing the wall hung units come to prominence. We're seeing those become more acceptable. What's nice about those is you can set the height to your needs when you're installing them in the wall. And we launched, as you guys know, at KBIS this year, we launched the WX2, which is our newest Neo-Rest line, and it's the only wall hung that we have in the lineup. So it features Actolite technology that, when enacted, a UV light with electrolyzed water and our proprietary glaze keeps the bowl cleaner longer. That types of technology will continue.
Yeah, I think nobody will ever complain about a self-cleaning toilet.
Oh, no.
Ever.
And you know what? Every time I talk with our colleagues overseas and they're saying, how is that technology going? What's the feeling from architects and designers like you all and the community of just keep it coming?
100%. And that's what's cool. And I wanted to talk about this because it's something that I think so many people across the country are dealing with. We mentioned earlier about that baby boomer generation that is now retired or retiring. And now we've got a lot of people that are discussing about, okay, what happens when, right? It's that what happens when they hit this point where their parent, or whatever relative needs help. And that generation didn't have a lot of, and to this day, most people don't have a lot of that long-term care insurance where they're covered. It's not in your typical health plan, and people have not signed up for that because it's pretty expensive. So you look at that and people start to price out what would it cost to put somebody in a care facility. One is, we talked about earlier, the lifespan isn't good. Second of all,
no,
geez, that can be $5,000 to $15,000 a month, depending on the situation. You can remodel a bathroom pretty inexpensively compared to that to buy some time till they get to that next step.
I think, we talked about that a little bit, Eric, before we started on air. And I mentioned Dan Butner lived to 100 years, the Netflix special and all of that, and his studies on centenarian culture. And they do not put people into homes. And in fact, some of the research that we're seeing, especially coming from AARP, says if you place someone in a home, their lifespan decreases by 70%. They'll be gone in 3 years or less because there is nothing that feels like life. Your garden isn't there. Your neighbors aren't there. Your church isn't there. Your art supplies aren't where you want them. You don't have the freedom to make choices on your own when you want to sleep, when you want to eat, where you're going to go, who you're going to see, who you're going to call, whether or not you get to have fresh flowers in your room. There is nothing that we, I think, take for granted when we're healthy as just life and lovely and fun, and this is how we live. Once you go into a facility like that, you don't have those options. And I think that's why it's so meaningful, especially, and it sounds funny to talk about a toilet this way, but if it means you get to stay in your home with your friends, with the people that you love near you, with your pets, with your habits, with your hobbies and the things that you love and make life worth living, that's a great choice. And I'm seeing people do that more and more because people just don't want to be trapped. No one likes that. And not in a jail cell, not in a home, not by not preparing. It's important to think ahead. And you can do it in such a beautiful way too. That really makes sense. So
I love that, Wendy, I think it's a seismic movement that needs to occur with conversations like what we're having now, where we turn growing old in America or aging in America to be something that's less taboo and more of a triumph. The idea that we talk about something as though this is planning for a luxurious and enriching point of my life, not something that we dread or we put on the back burner and look at it every once in a while and with fear and not having understanding. And at the same token, we're seeing a society that's witnessing an unprecedented time where people are living far longer and healthier in their life, right? And they're productive. I think the term golden years is an archaic term. I think that people are choosing not to retire and they want to live healthy, happier lives. And products like our Toto Washlet and Washlet Plus models help them do that because they live with, like Wendy said, dignity and respect and independence in the home that their community is in, family and friends are in, that they built memories in their home, they raised a family in. And so what I think is that we need to remove the stigma of talking about aging gracefully in America and make it something of a triumph. And all of us, Eric, thank you for hosting us to talk about this. Wendy, to continue to champion future-proofing and living in place. And manufacturers like us to say, hey, we hear you, we see this need, and we are going to produce products that not only are great for a young person who just moves in their first home, but for that person that wants to live in that home far later in their years with dignity, respect, and independence. And I feel like that is a luxury we should all attain.
Amen.
Agree.
Yeah, it's sad. And to compound on that, you think about it let's pick a number like $9,000 a month, which is fairly average for a lot of higher need places for people to be. If you can put in a toilet and a few other little things in the house, one, they're going to stay 70% longer lifespan staying in their own home. That's a solid number. And you're not paying that out. This becomes just such an automatic yes for many people that even if you had to do a big bathroom remodel after 6 months to a year, guess what? You're well ahead of the game now. And you've got extra lifespan and you're home where you're comfortable, where your friends come and visit. And like you said, Wendy, the flowers can be where they want to. You don't have all these rules in a box that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And it's subtle. Yeah. You can change these things out with making an announcement of, oh, we're making a hospital bathroom. That's the cool thing.
No. Yes. I think we've done 6 of these in the past 2 years. And no, I can assure you that none of them look like a hospital. They're all lovely and distinct for each client's personality. There's one that's bright turquoise blue, and there's one that's all like a bisque color and very quiet. And there's one that's blue and white and gold and more bold and brave. But it's each client investing and showing their personality through their design choices, but also, like you said, Jarrett, future-proofing their home so that they can enjoy it forever. And it's funny because a lot of my clients have kids who weigh in and offer their opinion. Adult children will say, and it's really funny because they do not really want to hear their adult children's perspective, nor, I'm sure, would they like their adult children to make choices for them as they get a little older in years. And so they're really protecting themselves from unwanted input for decades to come, which as a mother of a semi-adult child, I can tell you this is very attractive to me.
Same.
Wendy, you got me thinking, and Eric, there's financial costs and then there's emotional costs. And we're talking about emotional costs of, oops, mom or dad gets hurt or injured or falls, and all of a sudden the thing that was taboo that you're not focusing on is now suddenly thrusted upon you. And that is a terrifying prospect. So future-proofing and thinking about these things from a design perspective, from a construction perspective, from a bathroom perspective, is really our way of planning for something like that, right? And I know financial services are doing something and other sectors of society. But there's also something, the financial aspect, Eric, about putting someone in a home versus renovating. We also fail to think about the family caregiver caring for the loved one. And there's about 40 million individuals that provide unpaid care in the United States. And these are adult family members typically, or a friend. And nearly 8 out of the 10 of those caregivers of a recent report showed that they had out-of-pocket expenses themselves taking care of their loved one, around $7,200 a year. Just so not only is it expensive for the elder to age in America, but caregivers are feeling the burden too. That's on top of also probably raising a family and trying to keep a big job. And so it's definitely something that we need to broach as a subject. And I would say, like any product, like a handrail that doesn't look like a handrail, or universal height washlet pluses with an award-winning washlet that helps you toilet every day. Mm-hmm. These things matter, and these things help the caregiver. We have research from Washington University in St. Louis we did that shows that caregiver satisfaction raises when they're helping the individual that they love with toileting support. They age with grace and dignity, and now this time in their lives become filled with good memories. And so there is so much to unpack with this topic, but the first step is talking about it. The first step is designing for it. And I think that's critically important for us moving forward.
I ran into that, Jarrett, with my very close friend's mom and dad. It was the first EADA project that I did, and she suffered from Alzheimer's. And it was the Alzheimer's that makes you angry, especially
sundowners.
If you feel that someone's trying to limit you in any way, or if you feel that someone can tell that you're suffering or you're not up to snuff, then they become very combative and upset. And so we took out 2 closets and completely expanded the bathroom, but we took your Neo Rest in the wall and put it in that bathroom because it was so sleek and beautiful. And she thought she was at the Westin. And it made her so happy. And we had this huge shower, roll-in shower with a great wand and a heat lamp and heated floors and a bench. So the caregiver, namely her daughter, my good friend, after working a long day as a pediatrician, could go in and take care of her mom. But we even like making that bathroom wide enough because she would forget to drink water as part of the Alzheimer's. So she would get in to take a nice hot shower and pass out. But she was a heavier lady. And so there was this very large, difficult contraption, almost like a sling, that the family would have to go in because otherwise they had to call the ambulance all the time. So we had to make sure all the clearances were right for that. So to toilet her, it was wide enough to accommodate that piece of equipment, showering as well. So sometimes people think, oh, if I can stick a little grooming chair in there, it'll be enough. You're never really sure. So if you can make that 48-inch clearance happen, it's kind of nice to have. But that's the thing. I think just making something work doesn't mean it can't be beautiful. And I feel like that's something that we have lost as a society in a way. Things that are utilitarian are just utilitarian. They're not beautiful, but it adds so much to your quality of life. If it's beautiful, it raises your spirits. It changes your perspective. And especially when you're going through something that's stressful, it's nice to have something really beautiful. We put extra windows in. We put in some more greenery and plant life and got a piece of stone that reminded her dad of the Montana mountains where his favorite cabin was so he can see it every day. But things like that are really important. And just understanding the changes that can happen in your mind. I think when Jarrett was talking about that you don't know how someone might experience an illness like that. And it's just nice if you can, again, think ahead, just be a little more thoughtful and careful and kind about it, and just make sure it's there if you need it.
Exactly. Wendy, I want to mention about this because I think it's a big deal. And I think it's a shift that we need to think of in building and remodeling. And that is, why can't we just start making standards like, hey, when we go put new doors in or we're designing a home, let's put 36-inch doors in everywhere.
Exactly.
So we don't have these little 2-foot something doors where people can't get in with a wheelchair, or bang everything up with a walker? Why can't we work on floor transitions and lightings and stuff that seems like common sense, but now we're having to remodel homes to add these to them, where we should just be doing that from stage one, whether it's your first home at 25 and you're not even thinking about it right now. I wish we could do something better with these standards to make it that much easier, so we're not having to remodel so many places and just make it part of the conversation.
I think a lot of people are just scared to have that talk. And a lot of, just like everything in life, right? You don't know that you don't know. And if you are a new designer and you haven't worked with a lot of people yet and you're just getting your feet wet, you don't think about 10 years down the road how they're going to feel in that bathroom, because you haven't even been doing this work for 10 years. It doesn't mean that experience means you're better or more talented. It just means you don't know till you don't know. And then you're stuck and you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe. And so that's really the conversation I have with clients on the initial consultation. I'm going to tell you everything I see and have learned, and you can pick and choose what's important to you. But I don't want you 5 years down the road when you're done with this beautiful bathroom renovation to say, how come Wendy didn't tell me this, that, and the other? And I could have done it then and saved thousands of dollars. That means I'm not a very kind or responsible professional. And I do not ever want someone to have that feeling. So once you start to have a harder conversation and you get more used to having those hard conversations, they're not hard anymore, because you frame it like, number one, I want to make sure that you don't have to pay for this twice. Number two, I want you to live your very best life here forever and ever, no matter what happens. Number three, that requires a few things that we talk about that may or may not be uncomfortable, but it's to aid in your joy and experience living in this space. And that's when you can talk about the washlet, lowering the threshold, making sure you block for grab bars later, making sure there's always a wand in the shower. And it's because I'm caring for you, not because I'm lecturing you or trying to sell you a bill of goods. It's just really about how you frame it.
I think that's well put, Wendy. And these things start small too, right? You have one conversation that builds on another, that all of a sudden you feel comfortable talking about these things. And you were talking a little bit about, in your experiences of recent, people are getting more like savvier around, I'm designing now and for the future. If I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to design things that I can, it will last for much longer, right? And we look at tons of data around market forecasting and economic health indicators and mortgage rates. So here's another thing interesting that we have been monitoring, right? There's a whole host of reasons why people want to stay at home. The emotional one that we talked about, right? But also financially, with interest rates being rather high, stubbornly high of right now, it's seen somewhat more of a risk to move than to stay put, right? And so then they're seeing these things and they know that they need to renovate. And we're actually seeing the renovation to future-proof move younger. So 45-year-olds are saying, or 50-year-olds are saying, I'm going to stay in my house because of where things are. And I know I'm going to renovate. I'm going to renovate for the future. I'm going to buy a Washlet Plus. I'm going to make sure that this is luxury I can use now. And then when I need it, it's going to be a different form of luxury, which I can live in place. So it's just interesting, the time and place that we're living in is informing our design and product aesthetics. It's very unique. And I'd love to hear what you're seeing on the street as well, Wendy.
I think it's just a beautiful bathroom. It's a beautiful bathroom.
Yeah.
Sleek, clean. I don't have to get in there and scrub that toilet. I have 4 little boys at home. I love it. Get them in the shower and hose them off with that wand when they're done in the pool with their friends. There's just ease is ease throughout the generations. It's just a matter of, are you an easy person to talk to? Are you a safe person to talk to? Can you set that stage and make people feel comfortable to share what their daily routine is like, so that you can say, we need to put a outlet behind the toilet. We need to drop that threshold. It's just, when you look at really beautiful high-end design, it does have all of those principles built in. What we're seeing now, especially in larger design competitions with ASID or the Interior Design Society, you don't see clunky old bathrooms with 5 steps up to a tub with pillars around it and purple mood lighting. That is just
that early
it's not
2000s
the
design.
moment anymore. So it's just a natural progression of things. It's cleaner, easier, more sustainable.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Absolutely.
That's really smart. And I think it's to put a bow around all this. I think what's beautiful of this is that this is not expensive to do these kind of things, right? It's very affordable to jump in. This is not some high-end luxury dream thing to turn around and put a washlet in so mom and dad can be home for another 5 to 10 years. These are not huge, expensive jumps for people to do. And they can make the choices on the features they want and what they want to spend, which I think is beautiful with any of these projects. Do you want to put in the cheapest hospital-looking towel bar that's a hand-holding bar as well? Or do you want to put in something that looks like a beautiful piece of art on the wall that does both?
Jewelry, that's what I like to call it. Yes,
like
and you
that.
make it beautiful with the faucet and all the lighting and all the sparkly things. Isn't that lovely? And it's so convenient. And it is like jewelry. What girl doesn't like good jewelry? Really?
I think that is a great way to describe it. And I'm gonna float that to other friends too. Be like, I talked to Wendy and she said it's like jewelry in the bathroom. I'm like, that is.
Hey, my parents are jewelers. That's how I grew up.
Okay.
I know pretty sparkly things when I see them.
Yeah. What's beautiful about this too, Eric's right, and Wendy, you're right too. So putting somebody in a home, detrimental. We all know this. It's expensive. Or design your home for future proofing. It's that you get to choose it. You design it with a designer. It is your oasis now and in the future. And these are ranging on tiers, right? A washlet is a few $100s compared to the $20,000 a month on average you could potentially have for 24/7 care. So
Or multiple trips to the ER with a
multiple trips to
UTI.
the ER for UTIs and things that are statistically shown that are the indicators for you to then go downhill into needing care.
Mhm.
So that's why I say that there's a washlet for every home in America and at every stage in your life. And this particular population that we're discussing is one that is going to redefine what it means to be aging gracefully in America. And I think our products are uniquely positioned because from our founders, we've had universal design principles in place. And it's just now at the time when the largest, greatest generation is starting to retire that they see the benefit of it just in a different way. And I think that's a testament to universal design. I think it's a testament to our company and to this product. But I do think that we're at an exciting inflection point in our society. And I'm hoping that conversations like what we're having and designers and manufacturers are coming together to help solve these problems.
Yeah, what's ironic is that this is the least cost option, right? Adding luxury is the best for life and the best for the pocketbook, which that always doesn't work out that way, which is cool when it does.
And they're easy to, we had at KBIS, we had for the first time, it was fun. We had 3 washlet plus models out, and we wanted to ask people just coming to the exhibit hall, how fast do you think you can install one? And we had someone install it in 2 minutes and I think 30 seconds with just all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. So they're easy to install. They provide a world of comfort instantly and a sense of clean. And they also help with this age demographic that we're discussing that wants to not be a statistic.
Yeah, makes sense. Hey guys, we are running out of time, and I wanted to ask Wendy here. I'm going to ask each one of you guys, is there something we haven't talked about today that you're like, ooh, I just got to get this in?
I think just through our lifetime, we want to exercise agency, and anything that allows us to continue to operate and exercise our own agency and preserve that agency is worthwhile. And to me, that means a bathroom that can keep you really healthy and safe. And it's a no-brainer, really, when you look at all the different parts of your life, financial, emotional, in some ways spiritual, because you can wind up in a horrible pit if you're sick all the time. And it's just very hard to lift people out of that kind of thing. And it makes sense. I don't know.
I think
once you approach it that way, I think it's a lot easier.
Wendy, and I agree. That's a beautiful way to put it. And I guess for me, what I would say is, as society changes, so should manufacturers. We are committed to doing that as Toto, we want to make sure that we provide the best products, superior products for technology, functionality, and sense of cleanliness and luxury. We believe that there's a washless electronic bidet for every home in America, like I mentioned before. And it is my goal that people have one in every home in America, because I think everyone deserves that sense of independence, no matter what age you are, the sense of clean and a sense of feeling of dignity and respect, no matter what age you are, or dexterity or ability. And I think that we as designers, manufacturers, installers, pros, all play a role in trying to reduce this sense of taboo around aging gracefully in America. And I'm excited to do that with you all, and I'm excited to see other people talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jarrett. That's awesome. Wendy, how do people track you down? Since we have a radio station in your neck of the woods there, I want to make sure if there's people listening that they can find you as well, since this will be going out in the air there as well.
Oh, thank you. So WendyGlaisterInteriors.com, and it's Glaister, interiors, plural. I mess that up sometimes. And then also you can see most of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis on Instagram, also Wendy Glaister Interiors. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it.
No problem, Wendy. And of course, Jarrett, we all know where they can find you, but go ahead and give that information out, since that website's like always up on my computer.
Absolutely. So TotoUSA.com, you can find our latest and greatest products, plumbing products, and our newest washlets, the S7A that we recently launched this year. This is the latest in the product lineup. It has every bell and whistle, as well as our C5, which is our wire cutter New York Times pick for many years running now, and our bestseller. So visit us there, and the tub, and our beautiful zero dimension tub, flotation tub. But also follow us on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, where you can see some of our news stories. We're posting content around architects and designers that feature some of our products, and really want to the community further. So we'll see you there too.
Sounds good. Wendy, Jarrett, thank you so much for making this an absolutely incredible conversation today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jarrett. Thank Wendy. Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Jarrett.
I will see you both at the next K-Biz. All right, everybody, I'm Eric G, and you've been listening to Around the House.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my hand, I know where to go. All over the radio with you. We're all over the radio.
Hey, it's Eric G with Around the House. Are you looking to grow your business? Need a spokesperson for your company? Maybe an MC for an upcoming trade show, or maybe you want to up your game and shoot some promotional videos. My team of experts would love to chat with you. Head to AroundTheHouseOnline.com and fill out the Contact Us form, and we'll set something up. Thanks for listening to Around the House.